If you could describe radical acceptance in one word, phrase, or mantra, what would it be?
It's as simple as just loving yourself. At the end of the day, we're all we got. We're stuck with ourselves. So it's important to be happy with yourself, be happy and love yourself. And that way you can love others back.
Hi, love. Happy Pride Month. And if you didn't know, it is also National Immigration Heritage Month. And welcome to Queerify, formerly known as Quest, a journey to wellness, where we help to demystify what wellness means for cutie BIPOC. And I'm V, aka Love Nest Monster. I'm a two-spirit human from the Yaqui and Hopi nations, also a Mexipino, Mexican Filipino, and a joy influencer. But I accept all pronouns. Haha, you thought it was going to be something bad. But I wanted to say a little something about National Immigration Heritage Month because I just found out that this exists. And I think more of us need to know that this exists because it's held every June in the United States, and it aims to honor and recognize the contributions and diverse cultures of immigrants in this country. So while you're out there celebrating your queerness, also celebrate everybody that made this country happen. Let's be honest, y'all. This country was quote unquote founded by the very thing that this country is trying to kick out. This country was founded, quote unquote, founded by people who were trying to escape a messed up situation wherever they were living to create a safe space for other people to create a home, a safe space. And they're taking that away from not only people that are trying to come here, but people who currently live here. But I don't want to go on a crazy rant because we're here to celebrate and introduce you to Luis Quiroz, he, him. We met in a lonely place in the nightclubs because that's often where we all find each other. And we're going to have, a very robust conversation reflecting on his personal story of being in the DACA program. In case you're like, what's DACA? It's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. And in case you're still wondering what that is, later on in the episode, Luis will let you know a little bit more about what this program is and the resilience that comes with it. It's been really lovely to see how we've come from being these club kids, doing the most, to now seeing him leading community events that not only are fun and engaging, but also are providing legal advice and support and resources to any folks that may be struggling with immigration issues. And seeing and knowing a lot of the ups and downs that life has thrown his way, finding out the ways that he kept himself grounded and how he managed to find ways to prioritize himself. It's going to be really inspiring, and I'm excited for y'all to hear what he has to say.
Hi, I'm Luis Quiroz. I use he, him pronouns. I am a queer Mexican-American entrepreneur. I'm the CEO of my own marketing agency, Trending Socials. We're a digital marketing agency helping small businesses go viral and thrive online. I'm a Libra. I also run a campaign in the Mission District called Mission Loteria. It's a bilingual cultural campaign that turns local event programming into vibrant celebrations, all while supporting local businesses. My queer fun fact, I met Lady Gaga. That's why I'm gay.
Yeah. You know what? I swear to God, I think I was there. I'm pretty sure at City Night or at the gay night. Yes.
At the crib.
2008, 2009 or something?
Yeah. So long ago.
Yeah. When I was thinking about how we met, I was like, Oh my God, did we meet in the clubs?
More
Like
than likely. Yeah, I'm having trouble like pinpointing, but I know for sure it was through our mutual friend Caesar.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it
absolutely.
was in the club scene, in the party scene, like for sure, out and about.
Yeah, I feel like that's where us baby gays
Yeah,
who move to a new big city who don't know anyone, I feel like that's where we find our people.
definitely. That was our safe space, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because in my notes I wrote, we fell in love in a lonely place.
Totally.
And here we are, like almost 16 years later, 15 years later.
Wild. Yeah, here we are, adulting,
Right?
you know?
I mean, doing our best.
Every day, yes, every day is a struggle, but we're here.
Heck yeah. When you met Lady Gaga, though, I have to ask, what was it
Yes.
like?
Well, see, the gag is, I didn't even know who she was. I didn't even know who she was, but I knew she was a big deal because like the promoters were like making a big deal and she was having a meet and greet. She had just finished performing and then they were like, all right, if you want a picture with her, she'll be in the back. So start the line right here. And I happened to just be like in that vicinity. So I jumped. I was literally the first in line. And
God.
I got to do my little meet and greet. My friend took a photo of us. I took my shoe off. I was wearing white Chucks, took my shoe off, and I had her autograph my Chuck. And she said, Luis, enjoy the fame. Love, Lady Gaga. I still have that Chuck in my room.
No
Like,
way.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, how
and then like a
cute.
few weeks later, like she blew up. And I was like, wait, I just met her. So I was like, it was destined. It was meant to be.
Were you like fresh coming out of the closet, and is that why you say it? That's why I'm gay?
No, I'm just saying it's like saying it as a joke, like that she's part of the gay agenda and, you know, turning people gay. No, I was gay way before that.
I love that. And then you were you always out? Would you say that you were
Yeah.
always out?
I've always been this. I'm a little more flamboyant than other boys. And so I've never really been able to hide it. And yeah, I've got teased for my flamboyancy since I was very little. But I think officially out, it wasn't until high school that I was like comfortable telling my best friend that I was gay, telling my sibling that I was gay, and being okay with it, just kind of like coming into it. And then I didn't tell my mom until I left home, until I had left San Francisco. And then I came back during the holidays or something. That's when I told my mom officially. Like I had never told any of my parentals.
Oh, is that when you went back to Mexico?
No. So my mom had left San Diego. She left the US in 2015. So I was in college in 2007. So it was like around 2000. It was around when I met Lady Gaga that I came out. So I mean, in a way, maybe that is when I became gay. Full circle. Yes, I just made the connection.
I love when that happens.
Yeah. So my mom left in 2015, and then
Okay.
I was in San Francisco ever since, and I got a chance to visit her through my DACA, advanced parole, which I'm sure we'll get into, not until 2022. So I hadn't seen her from 2015 to 2022. And that's the first time I had ever been to Mexico, aside from like leaving when I was a baby. That was the first time I went back, 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And how was that experience going back for the first time?
It was a lot of mixed emotions. I felt a level of belonging unlike ever before. Like I felt, even though I had never been there, had never experienced it, I felt like this was home. I can't even explain it. The weather, the sun, the ocean breeze, the hospitality from my family, from the neighbors, it just felt so right. And I was like, damn, we left all this? Like,
Right. Right.
why did we leave? But no, like it became very clear why my family chose to leave and move to the US. I personally didn't experience anything terrible, but I heard things that happened while I was there. I didn't witness them. we rode a bus from one city to a different town to go visit some other family. And the police, it was like police with machine guns coming onto the bus, asking people for their documentation. And I think the scary part for me is like not knowing whether this was police or not, right? Like not even knowing like who is up in here, because they're totally covered up. It could literally be anybody. So that was really scary for me. But yeah, I understood that the quality of life isn't what it's up to be. I was on vacation, and so it was a vibe, but it's not like long-term living there, being oppressed, not having the opportunities that I've been given by, even though I was undocumented for so long, by living in the US.
Wow. Man, well, now that you you already mentioned DACA, now like this is a perfect, segue right into it. Not everybody knows what DACA is, because like I've talked to maybe a cousin that was like 10 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had asked her, like, we were talking about like everything. And I was like, do you know what DACA is? Because my generation, we were actually taught about it in school.
Yeah.
And I think that you were one of the first people I met that was actually part of that DACA program.
Totally. Yeah. DACA is also known as the Dreamers, right? So Dreamers is kind of the bigger term. There was a big Dreamer movement before DACA became a thing. DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, meaning if you came in as a child, you are a child of immigrants, you had no say in, you're a minor, you have to go with your parents, right? And so because of that, there's like this conditional like forgiveness, like, okay, you came as a child, like, sure, we'll let you have a work permit, but you have no other rights. Like, pay your taxes, you don't get any benefits from them, but pay them and work and stay put. You can't travel outside, you can't go outside of the US because they can deny you entry. You have very limited rights. So while it was a protection, it was still not ideal. And just to paint the picture, right, there's 11 million or so undocumented folks living in the US for whatever reason, right? They immigrated here. There is no pathway to citizenship for them. They are refugees or asylum seekers, or they've overstayed their passport visas, what have you. There's about 11 million. Of those 11 million, less than 1 million are actually eligible for the DACA program. So it's a very small sliver of the population. I was one of those lucky few that did get to benefit from DACA. And DACA was an executive order from former President Barack Obama that gave this protection to this small group of individuals. The program is no longer a thing. If you have it, you're slowly being phased out of it. The Trump administration has blocked it. It's being fought in the courts for constitutionality, and it's a mess.
Wow.
I've been so fortunate in my journey through all my trials and tribulations as a dreamer, as a DACA recipient. I am now a lawful permanent resident. And so
hell yeah,
that has just significant, as of like less than, not even a full year. Yeah, not even a full year.
Congratulations.
So like, thank you. So like all my life has been, I've only known to be undocumented or documented with few protections. And now the world has opened up in a way that's like, I could never have imagined.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's wild.
Yeah, it's insane, like the way that U.S. propaganda is in the education system, because I was taught like how DACA was just so incredible, and they would just like, make it such a big thing. Oh, the dreamers, and like,
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it was a good program and I was happy to benefit, but it was not enough. I mean, immigration reform is what we needed, is what we need. Mm-hmm. And there's so many people that will never see that day. And since I only got my residency because I married someone, right? I fell in love and I got married to a U.S. Citizen. If that were not the case, right? If I wasn't ready for marriage, or if I had not found my mate, then I'd still be in the same position, right? So it's like, how crazy that that's the only way that I can adjust my status.
Yeah.
And Immigration reform is the answer. The majority of Americans in polls agree that that is something that they want, a pathway to citizenship for immigrants that don't have one. And this misconception that we need to get in line, get in the back of the line, that is a figure of speech. There is no line to get behind. There's no pathway if you're here already. And even if you come here seeking asylum, seeking refugee status, like, that is your constitutional right. But this administration is treating it like like they're criminals already. That is not the case. Like, that is not a criminal offense. It is actually a practice that the U.S. has done for many years, centuries, of welcoming immigrants and figuring it out. But it's being criminalized, and it's just evolved into this political playbook of kind of using immigrants as pawns and pointing the finger at them. They're the bad guy, to mask all the other crazy stuff that they're hiding, that they're doing, that they're benefiting from, profiting from the presidency and being corrupt.
Exactly. And I get in this like hoopla and get all angry. I was like, yo, Mexicans were here before. We were here before all of y'all.
California was part of Mexico, actually.
Exactly,
y'all crossed this border.
Y'all crossed us. Like, because Mexican is not even a race. It is Spaniard and Native combined makes a Mexican.
Exactly.
So we are native to this land, and it's just so crazy to see all these government officials who are all white, a lot of majority white folks who are not native to this land, calling people immigrants, when it's like, this system was started by immigrants. But I'm not even gonna go.
Yeah, it's like they make the rules to benefit themselves, right? But who made the rules? Like, y'all stole native land. Can we talk about that too? Like,
Period.
There's no, y'all keep changing the goalpost and changing the rules to benefit you, and I'm sick of it, V.
Yeah, but I'm loving all these tribes like fighting for their lands, getting land back. And unfortunately, there's a lot of hoops and shit to jump in and around and trying to get recognized. Even me being in two different tribes, the Yaqui and the Hopi, because so much documentation has been lost throughout those years, it's impossible to prove my bloodline. I think that word of mouth is strong, but also these blood tests show it too, like all the native blood. But even having that, they don't recognize it if you don't have documentation, which is so much of a headache. But I'm going on a little tangent. I do want to ask you that for people that might be going through a similar experience as you did or as you are, who might be listening right now, do you have any advice for them as they fight for their citizenship or for a sense of security in this country? Do you have any advice?
I think the best advice is to know your rights, right? We feel helpless and hopeless, and that is a very scary place to be, but you have rights. And that's empowering to know what your rights are and what you are, what your due process, right? Like, you can't just be snatched, even though and locked up. Like, you are owed due process. That is the Constitution. You have constitutional rights, no matter what your status. So just be aware. I found really great resources in San Francisco, where we met and where I've lived for more than half my life now. And SF is a very progressive city. They're very immigrant friendly, and there's a lot of resources. I want to give you guys a website, immigrants.sf.gov. immigrants.sf.gov. If you're looking for DACA renewal support, if you're looking for adjusted status, green card support, you're applying for citizenship, or just want to know what your options are, get a legal screening. There's free legal support, you guys. Like, that is not very known. Like, you can get free support from lawyers, immigration lawyers. And that is a place to start to learn your rights and to learn what options you might have if you are in a predicament, and just get access to resources.
Do folks have to live in SF in order to receive any of this information?
That's a really good question. Do you have to live, work, or study in SF. So if you go to school in SF, if you work in SF, you have to have some connection to SF. You can go as far as even having a relative that lives in SF is enough of a connection for them to be able to provide services and give you support.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
And nationally, there's other organizations. Immigrantsrising.org is another really great, reputable organization. They have been very helpful to me in my entrepreneurship journey. I've actually received grants from them to start my business. Lots of knowledge. It's a great knowledge base. And they also offer workshops and legal resources on a national level. So if you're not just in San Francisco, but nationally, great resource at immigrantsrising.org.
That's incredible. I sense like a really strong passion for you to be able to help the community, but not only that, but to help folks that have gone through what you've gone through. And it goes along the theme of why we started this podcast. We started this podcast and our message was community is the cure. And it got me thinking, like, what drives your passion to do the work that you do for the community?
Yeah, thank you for creating this space, because I think it can feel really lonely, really isolating, navigating things like this. When I was growing up, we didn't talk about it. It was something we did not mention. And it was like, okay, but for example, I wanted to join the swim team, right? Who doesn't? High school, fun, let's join the swim team.
I did it.
Yeah, I did it in college, like later. But in high school, I wanted to join the swim team. I got the application. Where we got stumped is I needed to have medical insurance. To have medical insurance, you need to prove your identity. I had no ID. I had no US birth certificate. I had no social security number. I could not get health insurance, and I could not join the swim team. And it was like little things like that. And then I couldn't tell my teachers, because that's a risk. I felt like I could go nowhere. And so that was really debilitating. And as a 16-year-old, 15-year-old, coming to terms with understanding, like, this is now my future. How am I going to get a job? How am I going to get a driver's license? How am I going to see the world? How am I going to go to college? Like, I think that was a turning point in me, that I wanted to not live quietly while other folks were never mentioning this to anyone, kind of keeping this quiet. I went on the whole opposite, and I said, I'm going to speak about this loud and clear. And there's a quote that activists were saying back when the Dreamer movement was happening, circa 2004, 2005, if I recall. And it's undocumented, unafraid. And I feel like I adopted that early on, because I did not want to live in fear. I did not want to be silenced. I did not want to. That's exactly what they want you to do, right? Not know that you have rights, not speak out, not do anything about it. So I chose against that. And so that was my turning point. And I want everyone to know their rights. I want everyone to understand that they don't have to live in fear if this is their circumstances. And if they know someone that is, let them know that there are resources available. There is help. There's ways around it. And sometimes you have to get creative. And that's what we do. We get creative and find solutions.
And that's incredible. I think people like you is what really helps that movement, helps the progression forward. Because then otherwise, if we're all sitting around in fear, there's no movement, there's no progression, there's no ways forward. So I want to say thank you for being exactly who you are, because you're probably doing more for folks than you even realize. Thank you, B. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because like I had a best friend in high school who was very similar to you, brought over as a child, undocumented. And it wasn't until we were both turned like 21 till she got citizenship and applied when she was like 17, when her stepdad like still had guardianship over her. Mm-hmm. And she didn't get it till we were 21. Yeah. And so it was like a very long process, and just kind of like, she was always more in that fear of like, let me not drive too crazy and get this ticket, or no, legit. Like, I can't get in trouble. I can't get pulled over. Not that I'm doing bad things, but like, I can't risk a speeding ticket. I can't risk driving under the influence. I can't risk, I was gonna say shoplifting. I have shoplifted before, but out of necessity, back when I was a teenager, underage.
But like, even like, I just have to be I have to be so careful. We have to be so careful because they can use that against us. Now, if I get in trouble, like that residency can go out the door. Like, yeah, it's a lot to balance, to like try to be perfect and try to not be too seen, and also try to be vocal and help people. It's like, how does that work?
Yeah. You're a superhero in my eyes. I'm like, you're fucking badass to be able to balance that. With who you are now, what advice would you have given your young self going through that experience?
If I could go back and tell my young self, as I'm going through learning about my status and limitations and the hurdles that are ahead of me, I would say, you are not defined by your status. You are much bigger than that. You are beyond this piece of documentation, and you're going to do incredible things. Don't set limits for yourself. Don't put barriers or walls around yourself. Break those barriers, break those walls, and thrive. You are capable of so much more than people say that you are, and you are going to get through this. It's going to be challenging, and you will have to find creative ways, but it will be possible.
Oh, I was trying not to cry. I was like, oh.
Oh,
That's beautiful.
I was trying to envision, like, yeah, my little 16-year-old self trying to figure out what's going to happen. And there's so many people that told me no, so many people that said I wasn't going to do it, so many teachers and like advisors, counselors that you would think would have your back, but that just like the rest of the world, like, no, that's not for you. You're not going to be able to do that.
It's crazy how similar it sounds like a story my dad told me when he was growing up in high school. He had a bunch of teachers telling him he was going to end up in prison. He was going to end up in jail. I grew up in a little city called Pico Rivera, like East LA. So all of his teachers were like, you're going to be in jail or you're going to be dead. Mm-hmm. And he like overcame all of that, all these teachers telling him all of this stuff. And he persevered, and he's doing his big things.
Yeah.
And, you know. Oh, honey. Sorry.
No. I wanted to maybe share one more thing I didn't get to that might also connect well, but in talking to my younger self just now, I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones, because against all odds, I was able to get to where I am and to survive. My brother, I had an older brother, and he was deported when I was in high school, and he was trying his best out there. He had a business, he had a baby, and his life was taken away in a burglary, in an extortion situation. And I just put myself in his shoes. What if I was the one that was deported? And what if I wasn't the lucky one? Why am I the lucky one? And so, even when I got my green card, it wasn't a happy thing, because I was still so... Of course, it was a happy thing, but it was also sad, because there's so many people that just still don't have theirs, and that never will. And what has given me that grace that my brother didn't have, and that so many people don't have. And when my brother passed, I didn't even I couldn't even go to his funeral. Like, I couldn't pay my respects. I couldn't leave the country. I was, what's the word? Yeah, I was very helpless and
Trapped.
And my mom was, at that point, she was already back in Mexico. This happened in 2017. My mother had left in 2015. And in 2017, when the incident happened, yeah, I just felt trapped. I felt like I couldn't do anything. And it just makes me think, like, if the roles were reversed, right? What if I was the one that got caught up and I was taken away? Like, would that be my future? Is that what it could have been? It's just a weird thought, because I want to have hope and I want to have confidence that things will change. But it's been such literally a lifelong struggle for me to just even get to this point, and how someone so close to me had a total different turn of events. And yeah. I wish those words that I just said would have been true for my brother.
Yeah. And all I keep thinking is, in that ancestral work, is that in the ancestral realm, he was able to help you thrive more in that realm than this. Because my dad's older brother passed away as well from gang violence in Los Angeles, and my uncle's death really helped my dad thrive beyond that. So I feel like my uncle also kept him out of that from the other realm.
That's a beautiful perspective. I never thought of it like that. I love that.
I'm glad it helps. So don't think why me, and think that he chose that and he was like, I'm gonna help my baby brother. And that's what I think of my uncle with my, helping my dad. So yeah. I'm hugging you.
I feel it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
When it seems like it feels like a lot, or if you ever feel overstimulated, like, what do you do to take care of yourself?
Yeah, I think I did not consider wellness practices until maybe my 30s, right? Like in my 30s, I really maybe became more intentional, I guess you could say, about me time. I didn't get my first therapist until I was like 33. Therapy's not for everyone. I don't think it's for me. Let me rephrase it. I haven't found the right therapist, but it is a cathartic experience. It's good to talk things through. And so luckily I have my friend group. I have 2 solid friends that I constantly, even if I don't call them, I know I can call them. They're night or day. Like, they're going to have my back. They're not going to judge me. They're going to listen. And just kind of having that support system built around you, I think is super important. I block off time for the gym, because I have a very busy schedule. So if I don't block it, it will get filled up with other things. And so I have to be very intentional about blocking off my personal time. I have an hour each day in the middle of the day, just for me to make a sandwich. I watch The View. I watch daytime talk shows, and just a little bit, just like the hot topics, the political topics in the beginning. So that's like my hour to just sit there and eat a sandwich and watch The View. And that's how I take care of myself.
It's so important.
Yeah. Yoga, I love doing yoga. That's kind of how I meditate. I have tried doing the Mindspace apps where I get an alert that it's time to meditate, but I can't sit still. I think, but with yoga, it's like a 1 hour. I can't leave. I have to sit through it. So that helps me like clear my mind and kind of meditate in stillness. But yeah, those are kind of my practices.
Yeah, you should try Tai Chi. If you are like a movement meditator, Tai Chi is incredible. incredible.
Never done it. Okay.
They have a bunch of YouTube videos.
Okay.
You should try one.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty
That might
good.
be my thing.
Yeah, because it's like breathing, but also like moving the energy in your body in different like ways, but like mindfully, slowly this way or slowly that way. But it makes me think of like Dragon Ball Z when they're moving the energy and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I kind of get silly with it, and it makes you giggle, but it also like you feel the release. It's wild, but it's really lovely. You were mentioning me time, and literally like I think you and I are the same age, like 36, and you know, reaching our end of our 30s, and I'm realizing how important me time is, because I'm very much like you, like that schedule is like boom, 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 boom. And, you know, and it can get filled up real fast.
Totally.
And I forget to take a moment for me. So hearing you say that you literally block off 1 hour for you a day, I'm stealing that.
Yeah.
Because also the gym thing, because I'm always like, oh, I'll go when I have time this day. And then the day comes and I'm like, I don't have time.
Yeah. And that 1 hour is non-negotiable. Like it's, you know, you have a meeting you want to schedule. Oh, I can meet with you before or after, but this hour doesn't move. And it's built that consistency, and it's right smack dab in the middle. So it helps break up my day from like beginning and end. And it's just been working really well for me. So
That's
I
really
recommend.
lovely.
I highly recommend.
I like it, stealing both those things, because the calendar is very full. But I really, really want to also talk about the fact that you had all this fear and you were going through this fear, but I want to speak up. And now you have a business where you're helping a lot of folks that don't have accessibility to many resources. And I would love for you to talk a little bit more about your business and let us know what was the inspiration behind starting your business.
I love that question. Yeah, I love what I do. I'm a marketing consultant. I have my marketing agency, Trending Socials, and I work with a lot of immigrant-owned, monolingual-owned businesses. And part of the work I do, I'm actually contracted with the city of San Francisco to support businesses that are below, and the income level is below the poverty line. Yeah, poverty line. Low income, that's the term. Oh my God.
It's always those words. It's right there at the tip.
Right there. I have a contract with the city of San Francisco where I get to support low income business owners with marketing support for their businesses. And it's all funded through the Small Business Administration, which is a federal level program that funds the Small Business Development Centers of America, which are centers all across the US. One happens to be situated right at City Hall, at San Francisco City Hall. And so I've contracted with SBDC and San Francisco City to provide what they call business coaching, business consulting. So I'm a business coach, technically, to low-income residents that are business owners. To qualify, you just have to have a business registered in the city, and you have to prove that you're low income. And so that has helped. I have helped dozens of business owners launch their marketing campaigns, get better at creating social media content, get their Google Map listing, set up their websites, create email marketing strategies, the whole thing. And it's so rewarding because I get to help people that remind me of my parents when they needed help, right? My mom was a saleswoman on University Avenue in City Heights in San Diego, one of the poorer communities of San Diego, and had no access to internet, didn't know how to use. There was no internet back then. There was no there was no social media, right? But just like having not tech savvy at all, and just like hustling door to door, and just depending on foot traffic. And if I had the skills that I have now, I would have loved to help my mom and my dad in their businesses. And now that I'm able to do that for other kids' parents, is almost like doing that for my own. And so that's such rewarding work. And I love what I do. And it especially like when there's results, when we see customers come in, when we see new sales, when we see traction, all the things. And it is a great service, great resource for anybody that may be an entrepreneur that's looking to open a business. They don't just offer marketing support, which is what I do. They have support in accounting, support in HR, in operations. And to qualify as an advisor, you have to be your own business owner. And basically, it's an application process. They have to vet you and make sure that you're skilled in your trade. And then you may or may not get approved into the program. And then you can offer your services paid by the city, not paid by the actual client. So it's like, it's a wonderful service.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Aside from that, I have another marketing contract with one of the city agencies where I do marketing for the neighborhoods. So I've actually worked on campaigns in Folsom Street, and I've worked on campaigns in the Mission. That's my biggest project right now, Mission Loteria. That's actually where I have a team of folks that like with me, and we do monthly events. We've got so much programming year round, game nights, pop-ups, all in an effort to support the small businesses in the Mission, which majority are immigrant-owned, monolingual, Spanish-speaking. And again, just another really rewarding component to the work that I do. I get a lot of joy in doing it, and it's been a wild ride. I got that contract right when I launched my agency back in 2019, right at the end of 2019.
Wow.
So I've been doing that for a minute.
That's incredible. Also, if anyone's local or happens to be in San Francisco and wants to maybe go to one of these events, how could they find where the events are happening?
Thanks for asking. So yeah, at Mission Loteria. That is the Instagram and the TikTok account and the Facebook facebook.com/Mission Loteria. You'll see our link in the bio has all of our events. And the most exciting event happening, there's a lot of exciting events happening in June, but we have June 14th. It's our official annual Pride in the Mission. And we have local drag queen superstars coming through to do drag queen story hour, do performances. There will be food and drink and bowling, because it's going to be hosted at Mission Bowling Club. And it's from 4 to 8 on Saturday, June 14th. If y'all are in San Francisco, come to the Mission. If you're in the Bay Area, come to San Francisco and let's have a gay old time.
Oh, that sounds hella fun. I might be out there if I'm not working.
Come through. Yeah, come through. 4 to 8. You don't have to stay the whole time, but it's going to be a lot of fun activities throughout the whole time.
Yeah, that sounds hella cute. And I do love me some Mission Bowl.
Yeah, it's actually really fun. That's the first time I've bowled in years. We had an event there in March, and I was pretty good.
Yeah.
I surprised myself. I was like, damn.
Love that. I love that. Natural bowler. Have you bowled since?
Natural bowler. Not since. So I'm probably going to definitely go in at this event to do some bowling for sure. Show off.
If I go, save me a game.
Yes, you got it.
Or a frame.
You got it.
So I have one last question for you before I ask you all your socials.
Okay.
And we ask every guest this. So if you could describe radical acceptance in one word, phrase, or mantra, what would it be?
Oh my God. So the first thing that comes to mind is love yourself. I think easier said than done, but I was listening to your podcast on the morning papers, and I went on a spiral about the way we talk to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that really sat with me, because the way we talk to ourselves, you would never talk to someone else, right? And it's as simple as just loving yourself. And I had a moment yesterday. I told you I was feeling a little vulnerable. I had a moment yesterday where I was kind of going through my memories of all the times that I didn't love myself. Mm. And I'm in a place now where I wholly love myself. And I think it's a great place to be. Definitely easier said than done, I think, but just love yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a difficult one, and I'm glad you listened to that episode, Because
That was a
it's
good
a
one.
current thing. Yeah. Yeah. I've recently have a new person to keep in mind whenever I have that bad talk to myself
Yeah.
and just hear her like, you keep that up, I'm going to hit you with my cane.
Right. There will be violence, right?
That's the only way we listen, right?
Yeah.
In this generation. I love that I was able to help you out with that, just being in my vulnerability and just being Mexicans. Like, we don't talk about that shit. We just keep on moving.
Yes, we do. And it's it's good to take a pause and fix that.
Yeah.
Let's see how we can repair that, because at the end of the day, we're all we got. We're stuck with ourselves. So it's important to be happy with yourself, be happy and love yourself. And that way you can love others back.
Even more. Yeah.
Even more.
Yeah. I recently wrote in one of my morning pages that when I don't show up for myself, I'm only like showing up for others like half-assed. There's just only a bit of me. And I was like, oh, no, the people I love deserve more of me.
Yeah.
So I need to love me. And for me in my weird, messed up brain or beautiful brain, I was like, if I love me more, then I can love others even more.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Right?
But I love that exercise. There was a part one and a part two. I listened to both, and it was such a, like, I haven't done it yet, but I can't wait to like wake up and just write it out, because yeah, there's a lot of power in that. And I think you even said that it's like ancestors like helping us make sense of the things that we don't know. It doesn't make sense to us yet, but like that's a really good way to kind of get it on paper and make sense of it. Yeah.
It's been really wild because I am an avoidant person, and I think that the morning pages have really made me realize what I'm avoidant and connect those dots and make it full circle. And I'm just like, oh, that's what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm aware. Now I can fix it. Where before I'm like, oh no, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Where morning pages is like, actually, which it's great. But in the way that it's delivered, I've never spoken to myself that way before because of that like transition of like your sleepy person to the like being woken, like those consciousnesses. I cannot say that word. I saw you like, should I try it?
I was like, I'm not gonna try it. Consciousnesses.
Yeah. It's a tough one, right? When the two of them are like intersecting, there's a beauty in what comes out, and I'm really excited, and I would love to get an update once you do start, if you're willing to share.
For sure.
Well, before we end all of this, I want to say thank you for being here, and you're fucking amazing, and I've been wanting to have you on here for hella long, and I'm excited because now people are going to fall in love with you, and I know they're going to want to follow you. So where can they find you?
Thank you so much, V. No, this has been so fun, and I appreciate you having me and letting me share. If you want to learn more or follow my journey, I am Luis Q Official on TikTok and Instagram, and Trending Socials. It's my business as well on both platforms. And if you want to follow the Shopping Local campaign, the Mission campaign, that's at Mission Loteria on all platforms.
Yes. Follow it now, rewind it, and find it again, and then follow all.
Follow all three.
Y'all heard?
No, but thank you so much for extending the invitation. It's a beautiful space you're creating. I love what you're doing here. Keep it up. I can't wait for the next season.
Thank you, honey. Appreciate you. Tap that follow button. Give us a 5-star rating and review. And hey, your review might end up on the show. This podcast is organically grown by Rafaela Landestoy, Leah Jackson, and myself, V. Vasquez. Editor and sound designer, Leah Jackson of Puka Puka Creative. Original music produced by Basque. His music is amazing. And emotional support by our fur babies, Nugget and Pukalani.